Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Lunar Nation podcast. I'm your host, Sagun, with fellow co hosts Franz and Arrow. Today, we will be talking about a topic that should really excite and grab the attention of everyone, which is the mystery of the Bermuda Triangle and why there are so many aircrafts and ships that disappear without really any explanation. The human race is inquisitive by nature, but there are very few mysteries that have the power to captivate and terrify us at the same time. The Bermuda Triangle, also known as the Devil's Triangle, located in the section of the North Atlantic Ocean off North America, is that kind of mystery, where more than numerous ships and planes are said to be missing. Some people say it is a gateway to the underworld. Some people say it is a wormhole to another dimension. So, on the 28th of December 2020, a boat with 20 people on board left Bimini in the Bahamas and was supposed to arrive in Lake Worth, Florida on the 29th. However, something went wrong. The boat traveled around the Bermuda Triangle and it went missing. The US Coast Guards actually searched at least 17,000 square miles and could not find anything. So the search was suspended. So what really happened to that boat? Who do we blame for the disappearance and why did it really even happen in the first place? I want to start off with Franz and get your thoughts on the this phenomenon of the Bermuda Triangle and why this is actually occurring and what are your thoughts on this?
Thanks, Sagun. So, it's very interesting. I mean, I feel like the audience have been captivated by, or many listeners, to documentaries and videos online have been intrigued by the Bermuda Triangle because as humans, we're naturally, you know, thinking about or want to know more about the unknown. It kind of intrigues us. So, our planet is covered by what, 71% of ocean. So,
Yeah.
it's not just the Bermuda Triangle. There's other, sinking of ships or planes that go down in the ocean and whatnot all around the world. But it seems that, the Bermuda Triangle sticks out the most because not only have there been a numerous amount of disappearances in not only planes and airplanes and boats, but the fact is that we can't identify where these aircrafts have disappeared to. We can't find sometimes. I mean, in some cases we can't find the wreckage. In some cases, there haven't been any evidence found, nor the bodies. So it's strange. I mean, there's numerous conspiracies. You got people thinking that there's a parallel dimension or aliens, taking these vessels and whatnot. And then you have other experts saying that, just natural weather phenomenon and whatnot, take occurring because there are a bunch of islands around there, shallow waters, the, tides change and whatnot. You get, bad weather, big waves and whatnot, and, can start capsizing ships. But I understand the ship part, but what confuses me sometimes is, the airplanes, as far as, you're flying 20 to 30,000 feet in the air. And yet there's been a lot of, crashes, whether from small planes to medium sized planes to, almost large planes crashing in that area. So I find that really strange. I'm no scientist and whatnot, but sometimes it's hard to believe some of these conspiracy theories. But sometimes it's just very intriguing to learn or see that there's been not only large vessels and large planes have been disappearing, but some of them have not found any single evidence at all. Especially today that we have capabilities of having drones and machinery, advanced technologies that where we can dive. I mean, we've sent drones to the what is it called, the Mariana Trench, the deepest part in the ocean, which is like over 7 miles.
Yeah, I
So it's
believe so.
like if we have that technology to send something that deep, and yet the Bermuda Triangle is only like half that size deep, maybe a little bit less, like 15,000 feet deep, and yet we're not finding any wreckage or anything like that. It's crazy to see something like I said, these vessels along those sizes disappearing without a trace.
Yeah, I agree with you in that. It's that like what if they're at in like another world, right? Like what if somehow like because there's no like trace of them, right? What if they're like teleported to like another dimension or something like that, right? I wish I want to like I want to go figure it out, but I'm also scared at the same time, right? But it's really fascinating to see like this phenomenon, like so many ships and airplanes without any trace, So it's one mystery that I think, like, hopefully we will solve one day.
The question is, when are we gonna solve it, right?
Yeah,
There have been many people trying to venture into those unknown space, such as the Bermuda Triangle, where you have like a reported case of, I believe, 5 military training planes that disappeared in 1945. And it's just some of the theories out there about the Bermuda Triangle is there could be bubbles underneath the Bermuda Triangles where, in fact, if you didn't know, the bubbles cause ships to actually, it could actually suck up the ships, and the ships could go like underwater, and obviously nobody knows. I don't think even like you can even send what are those, a submarine in the
yeah,
water to find it, because some scientists theorize that there's electromagnetic frequencies within the platform of the Bermuda Triangle, which kind of interferes with the navigation of planes and causes, like, illusion for people when they're flying their plane within that space, like seeing clouds, seeing thunderstorms that they never seen before. And it's crazy. And some of the legends that people believe within the Bermuda Triangle is, like, one fact is like a very very big octopus the size of a ginormous ship that comes
Yeah,
out.
they call the Kraken.
yeah. The crack.
The
Yeah,
Kraken, yeah. So I mean, I know, Sagun, if you were hypothetically in a ship, and and hypothetically if Franz was on his famous jet ski in the Bermuda Triangle, and as soon as you see a thunder, the real question is, like,
I
would
would run
you
away.
would you stay there,
I
or would
would
you
run
run
away.
away? And number
Uh,
two is, would you let Franz keep jet skiing on his way, or would you call him out? And if he doesn't come, would you still run away?
I think Franz is a curious boy. I think he might go, but for me, I mean, once I see that, there's no way I'm staying in that area. I don't want to be missing. I don't want to be in BBC News saying, "Oh, someone's gone missing," I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be famous for that reason. Maybe famous for a podcast, but not in that case.
You know what's crazy? What if hypothetically the Bermuda Triangle is a wormhole to, like, I don't know, a different dimension?
Yeah, that's kind of what I
It's
was thinking, right?
so it's kind of crazy because what we don't know, we're kind of like scared of, right? And then all these facts about, like, all these ships and planes, and even like sightings of UFO sightings within the space is kind of like making mankind a little curious. Um, Speaking of curiosity, some people actually believe that the Bermuda Triangle is where originally Atlantis existed, and that's where, I guess, the malfunction of power erupted, and then all the frequencies and changes you see within the Bermuda Triangle is because of whatever happened at that moment of time back then.
Mm,
Yeah.
that's very interesting. Especially since you mentioned like the electromagnetic interference, because I've heard like people talking about how as a possibility for these methane gas bubbles coming up to the surface being possible, a possibility to sinking these ships and capsizing them and whatnot. But I found it weird how it, again, I'm no expert, but just from watching videos and documentaries, how is it that these bubbles are able to take down planes that are 30,000 feet up in the sky, and mechanical interference or electromagnetic interference could definitely seem like a big possibility for that. Obviously, because that's what so many planes need to fully function. And that interesting theory that you said, as far as possibly the lost city of Atlantis could be under there. And as people theorize, lost city of Atlantis was a very advanced civilization. No one really knows if it how it really existed or what it was or what kind of technologies they had, but it's a very interesting and cool theory to think about. Because what to me the most intriguing thing is the disappearance of planes, because I've seen videos of planes being struck by thunder up in the sky and whatnot, and going through bad weather and major turbulence. But it's just insane to think that a plane could disappear in the middle of the ocean, especially the Bermuda Triangle. And I know that they are equipped with a 30-day tracking beacon. So for the most part, if you have, a search party searching in the general vicinity, they're able to track it with that beacon. Again, it's not 100% guaranteed, but with the technologies that we have right now, it's a lot easier to find if you have the right equipment and you're searching in the right, particular the correct vicinity of the area where the plane last disappeared. So, it's just crazy. I know that there's been radar towers that have lost signal on their radar scope of some of these planes sometimes, or just the dot disappearing and then reappearing later but in a different distance. So it's crazy to see something like that.
Yeah. Also, you got to consider if you do disappear in the Bermuda Triangle, you got to ask yourself this question. So, knowing the facts that ships and planes go poof in that area, what are the chances of, I don't know, a rescuer actually, venturing into that space knowing fully well that they might themselves
Yeah.
disappear?
Yeah. That's
One
right.
of the you got one of the things, if any of us is interested in going on a boat and going through this towards exactly where these phenomenons happen, just to give you a clear idea of what you might even face. Um, there have been sayings that even like the ocean, so the water within the Bermuda Triangle, the ocean rises hundreds or even thousands of feet in the air. So you're gonna have like big waves, and tornadoes just come out of nowhere. Um, this basically is easy. Like your ship. I mean, even if you have like aircraft carrier, I think you could even flip within those spaces. And you gotta like also be curious about like what's within the Bermuda Triangle, because what we know is like all these disappearances, right? But what we don't know is how do they disappear? Where are these magnetic waves coming from? Where are these electromagnetic fields coming from? Which kind of gives me like an idea of like, um, I don't know if you guys remember in the past episodes where we talked about Nikola Tesla theorizing about electromagnetic waves. So could that be a hypothesis where he probably derived that from the Bermuda Triangle's
Yeah.
um forest field, you know what I mean?
That's
Right.
interesting.
Sorry, not to cut. I know you wanted to say something, Sagoon, real quick. I know the waves that you were talking about, Arrow. They're actually called rogue waves, and they're actually experienced throughout the ocean. I know that they could be particularly in the area where the Bermuda Triangle is, just because I think um, like the different temperature of weather that clashes there can create, like a weather phenomenon. And those waves are called rogue waves, but they don't stretch up to 1,000 feet. They can stretch up to like several hundred feet and whatnot. And I mean, yes, if your ship is like in the wrong direction, you can definitely easily be capsized by it. I'm not sure if you guys seen the movie Poseidon. I think came
Oh,
out in like 2004 and 2006. That movie was basically about like a
early.
cruise ship that was like tipped over by a rogue wave that can reach up to like 200-300 feet in sea levels and whatnot. And there actually have been cases of like cruise ships actually experiencing these rogue waves. But I mean, they come up on their sonar, like the technology they have, and they're able to adjust the ship to attack it head on, because it won't at least capsize the ship. But the electrical magnetic part is the most interesting part, that that's a mystery to me.
So
Yeah.
so check this out, check this out. You know, I mentioned a big ship, right? So let me give you a actual fact. So a while back in 1910, there was a ship by the name of Cyclops. It was about 550 feet long, had at least 300 crew members, and it weighed around 11,000 tons. And what happened was the ship was sailing from the Baltic Sea, Caribbean, and it just disappeared. And this is one of like it just like a big ship like that going disappearing. I mean, even I don't even think size really matters. So even if you consider the waves, I mean, that's just one thing we know. Tornadoes is another thing, or the wormholes where basically I believe what happens in the Bermuda Triangle is there's actually wormholes, like water. in like there's waterfalls within the ocean
Yeah,
where
those are
the
called
water's being
whirlpools.
yeah. So
It's
you
when the
your
water
sh-
starts spinning around like a tornado in like, but
mm,
it goes inside in.
so yeah, so your ship can actually be sucked in. So I mean, that's crazy. Think about it. Your ship that big, 10,000 tons, or no, I'm sorry, 11,000 tons, disappear like that. Even if you send a SOS signal, I mean, my dude, you're in under the water at that point.
Yeah. So we basically know that Arrow is definitely not going there because of all these facts and all these stories that Arrow has
Well,
heard
actually, I wanted to
that
point out
scared him.
because it's interesting because people, like I said earlier, humans are fascinated with the unknown. They want to learn more about it. But I don't know if you guys know that, just like other parts of the ocean, the Bermuda Triangle is actually a heavy traffic for shipping vessels and for planes to come through. So it
Yeah.
doesn't seem unlikely because it is it is experiencing heavy traffic with ships that there are going to be some disappearances. The fact that makes some experts curious about it is the fact that some of these vessels that do disappear, they disappear without a trace or whatnot, or they just vanish off the radar and there's no SOS signal. So usually if a ship is sinking or capsizing or whenever even a plane, there's usually some type of distress signal sent out like a few minutes before the tragedy happens. Again, depends on how severe it is or whatnot. So that's the crazy part, that these vessels and planes have been disappearing without, for the most part, any SOS signals. And then the ones that do send out signals and whatnot and have disappeared, they haven't found really the wreckage of them. Just like how Arrow mentioned, I think it was a Flight 19 back in 1945 that really put like the Bermuda Triangle on the map and started to make people curious about it. I don't know if Arrow wants to talk a little bit more about that, or if he had anything else to say he wants to add it about the Bermuda Triangle.
I'm sorry, did you mention 1919? About I didn't
No,
get that part.
you talking about, remember the flight, the five
That was
military.
1945.
Yeah, 1940. It was called the Flight 19.
Oh, okay. I'm not much too familiar, but I do know they disappeared. I think around 20, 19 or 30 crew members within those planes disappeared. So there has to be like just to so check this out. There was a person named Joshua Silicone who was a famous solo sailor that disappeared on a 1909 voyage from Martha's Vineyard to South America. Though it's unclear what happened, but people attribute his death to like the Bermuda Triangle. So, um, if you hypothetically are gonna go to Bermuda Triangle, just I mean, navigation won't help you, GPS won't help you, even knowing how to swim won't help you. I don't know what
You're
helps you.
you're basically screwed.
You know what? I think one thing will help you. Build a technology, build a nice camera that's electromagnetic proof, like waterproof, electromagnetic proof,
Okay.
where you can send it and if it goes and all these little fuzziness happens, you could have evidence to record it.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
either way,
I don't know what movies you've been watching, Arrow, but that's kind of not possible. So
I mean it's science fiction, but
I mean, it is science fiction. I know you were watching probably a lot of Stranger Things and all that, right? I mean, right now where I really want to focus on the reality of it, right? I want to focus because of what Arrow and Franz were saying. People disappearing, all this, all that. How about this? How about we talk about someone who actually made it through the Bermuda Triangle alive? Because I think that's what the audience really wants to hear. A real
uh,
story
okay.
of a person who made through the struggles.
So
Let me
apparently there was one
Oh, let
person.
Sagun speak.
yeah, I was gonna say it, but you can back me up, Arrow.
Okay,
So
go ahead.
basically, there's this person called Bruce Gernon. He usually used to do flights from Bermuda to Florida all the time. I mean, he's a really really experienced pilot, so he's been going back and forth. But one like it was unusual strange day. He was flying from Bermuda to I think Key West, Florida or something like that. And he noticed that there was this like dark cloud. And he was like, "You know what? It might be just some, odd, dark cloud. I'm just going to go past it." So he went past that cloud. He was like, no problem. And he saw light. But then after that, he saw another dark cloud and he's like, wait, hold up. Like, what's really happening? But then he didn't really think about it. He was like, you know what? Maybe I can tackle this one too. But this one appeared to be a lot bigger, and there's more depth in it. So he went inside the dark cloud, and he saw all this like thunder and everything, and he was trying to get out for 30 minutes to 45 minutes, but he just didn't see the light in the tunnel. No, like the light outside the tunnel, right? So he was panicking. He was like, yo, what is really happening in this situation? Like, am I gonna die? Like, what's the situation? Like, he's never seen something like this before. So then what happens is that he goes down, and then all of a sudden he sees a light, and then he's like, "Oh, maybe I can get out." But the light starts getting narrow and narrower, and somehow he just keeps at a base. I'm guessing he uses his experience, and he somehow gets out. And when he gets out, he realizes that, oh, he finally made it. Like, oh, what really happened? And he contacted one of the teams in Miami and asked them, like, what is going on? Like, where am I? And they said, you're in Miami. And he was really shocked because of the time that it took him to go from Bermuda to Miami was so short, and the point that he looked at his gas mileage and everything, and it was I think he got like, I think like 30 minutes earlier. So he was like, "What is really happening?" And he was like, "Maybe what if it was like some kind of like time travel, or what if there was some kind of like mystery within this Bermuda Triangle that caused this?" So this is kind of the story that I have. I think Arrow has more details to it.
Yeah,
So
so about that story, half of his fuel tank was empty. So it should have took him 90 minutes, only took him 45 minutes to get there. So he was really like freaked out by that. But let me give you a really spooky story. So this is actually interesting. So back in 1967, there was a 23-foot luxury yacht by the name of Witchcraft that left Miami. And basically, on board the ship was a captain named Dan Burak. And basically, what he did is he called the Coast Guard stating that his ship hit something, but there was like no damage to it. And when the when what happened was when the Coast Guard came to help, they literally found no traces of the ship Witchcraft. And not only that, they did not see any signs of anything like ship, like life vest or anything like that. What was intriguing to them is that the yacht had numerous life saving devices, which is like life jackets, lifeboat, flares, distress signal device, but none of them were used. And till this day, no one here has found the ship, and the ship just disappeared without a trace.
wow.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I mean, like I mentioned earlier, the ocean is pretty vast and none of it is really explored. But we're going to see disappearances all the time, and for me, it's interesting to hear some of these conspiracy stories. I mean, some of them seem really out of this world, that it's a parallel dimension or aliens taking over and whatnot. I mean, I can understand some sort of like electrical magnetic interference, I guess. Where it comes from, I don't know, but honestly, I mean, these disappearances could be, from weather or natural phenomenons. I mean, could be human error or mechanical errors. So, like I said, the Bermuda Triangle is one of the heaviest, traffic places for ships. So obviously, the more ships are going to pass by, the more accidents are going to occur, or mysterious vanishings are going to occur per se. But I think that for the most part, like I said, it could be just a result of human or mechanical errors. Like, people want to believe there's all these mysterious stuff going on and whatnot, but at the end of the day, there has to be some sort of explanation to it. And I mean, what do you think, Arrow and Sagun? Do you think this is actually like something like really mysterious, or this, for the most part, it can be explained and whatnot?
Uh, Let me say, I think that there's many evidence. I wouldn't like to go and explore the Bermuda Triangle and see it, but given the fact that not many ships or planes like they avoid this route, kind of gives me the feeling that even though it's not a fact that you go to a different space, but it is a fact that you disappear. Given that circumstance, I will not go. But if
Well,
ever,
hold up, because but the Bermuda Triangle is visited by a lot of ships. Like I said, it's very
Oh,
heavily
it's
trafficked.
very,
There's a lot
very,
of ships passing through it and planes passing
yeah.
through it. It's not
People
that they
still
go
do it.
around it; they go through it. There's actually cruise ships that go through it. There's actually airliners that go through it. So it's
mm,
not that everyone goes around it. People do go
Exactly.
through it and whatnot. And like I said, it's very heavily trafficked because it is an area of, I think, over 5,000 square miles, and no one's gonna fly their plane or vessel, or
mm,
float their vessel around it, because it's gonna take too much time.
Exactly.
So
People
like I
do
said,
take the risk, you know. People do take the risk for the reward, you
I mean,
know.
like I said, for my opinion, it just seems like a lot of crazy stuff has happened there that has been out of the ordinary. But most likely, it's been some sort of explanation, because even back then, technology wasn't as advanced as it is now, so people didn't have that SOS signal, or they may some people might have been trained in that situation, or who knows what could have happened. But like I said, I think for the most part, it seems that for my thinking, it could be some sort of mechanical or human error. There
Yeah.
might be some instances where there could have been maybe some weird phenomena that could have occurred, but I mean, I don't know. It seems so hard to believe, just
hold
because
hold
it's
up.
a vast area.
So hold up. If okay, so once I have all the money to invest, I will actually personally fund your whole expedition to the Bermuda Triangle.
I didn't want an
No, no,
And
expedition.
no,
That's the
no, no.
thing,
Thank
though.
you. Thank you, Arrow.
and if you go disappear, yo, I will conclude with Sagun that something's out there.
No, no. How about this, Arrow? I respectfully decline your offer.
No, but there's people that actually go through there. I hope you know
Yeah,
that.
yeah. No, I mean
They
people
come out
people do
fine. There's
go through
nothing.
Then,
there,
You know what
but
I mean?
then you should take my offer.
I'm not gonna. But
Okay,
for
give me.
me,
Where's
I'm
the
not gonna
money?
take the risk. I'm not gonna take the risk
The
because
money will come when the expedition starts.
All right, expedition starts tomorrow, 9 a.m.
yeah, you better be there on time, Arrow.
That kind of reminds me, not to change the topic, but the have you guys seen that Disney cartoon about Atlantis where the guy actually like there's this like old guy who's like really into like all these like mysterious artifacts. He funds the whole expedition, and then they kind of discovered like things that they shouldn't have discovered. I mean, are you guys familiar with that? Disney.
Uh no, no, no. But it seems like Arrow, you are the Disney expert here. So,
I'm not
No,
really
no, it's
familiar
just
with that movie.
it was just interesting because I was
yeah,
thinking I
yeah.
was
No,
like,
I've not seen it, but I've heard of the name Atlantis, the movie Atlantis, right?
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah. So
yeah, yeah. No, I mean that's interesting. But for my take itself, I just want to add myself is that I wouldn't really go. Unless I was completely immortal, I had the chances, like 100% chance that I was gonna, survive, like live to tell the tale, like just how Bruce Gernon did, who was one of the lucky guys. Then I would do it. Otherwise, there's no way on earth I would go through that.
s-
And
Even though
just
millions of
so,
people pass
hold,
through it every year.
even though millions of people pass through it every year, I am not taking a single chance because what if I go there and my bad juju curse or something comes in and boom, you see those clouds,
hold,
everything,
hold.
tornadoes, you know?
Here's a question: if you're immortal, hypothetically, let's say that case's scenario is correct, and then you go to the Bermuda Triangle, and suppose you go to this whole like different realm where the water sucks you in, and you go deep, like I don't know, 2,000. I don't know, like what is it, 50 miles down deep? Would you still
Man,
be
calm
like,
down. It's not 50 miles deep. It's like maybe like 2.5, 3 miles max.
okay, well, let's even say 1 mile, hypothetically, even 1 mile deep? Would you not at least be traumatized?
Oh, I mean, of course. Just that experience itself, I mean, it's like going through this like whole big storm, this dark. I mean, of course everyone would be kind of scared. I mean, even the pilot was scared as well. He was like, "What is going on?" Such an experienced person like that, right? So it's just like theories, right? I mean, it's really fun to just talk about it, but at the end of the day, like I would say, like a lot of people, if something like that happened, would not want to experience it. So this kind of concludes our topic of the Bermuda Triangle, and I just want to say that this is a whole mystery. There has not really been that much proof, but hopefully in the future we do get some kind of evidence that says that maybe there's an alien
There
there.
you guys
So
have it. So today's episode about the Bermuda Triangle, Sagun really covered it really well. Franz, thank you very much for all the information you provided. Um, Everybody, we hope you really enjoyed this episode. So please subscribe, rate, and like the episode. And most importantly, write your comments about what you feel we should do about our next episode or anything that you see that we would like to cover. Thank you again, once from Lunar Nation, and I hope you all have a good and blissful day.